If you leave the water, you pour just like that, it stays wet. After a while, that water will make all the dust in the air stick like a layer. So, should that water stay there? There should not even be any moisture. Now you must take a dry cloth and wipe away that wetness too. You wiped it and put it there. Now, what happened? Nothing happened. The bowl just appeared as it is. The golden bowl that was doubted to even exist after falling in the mud now shines as a golden bowl. Now what else must be done to know that it is a golden bowl? Nothing needs to be done. You only act until you know it is a golden bowl. Once it shines as a golden bowl, just leave it be. To know the soul that exists just like that, you must notice one thing in the word knowing. There is no separate thing that knows. If there were, then there would be two. You will just remain in the experience that you are the soul. Once you are in that experience, there is no second thing left to talk about. Suppose you try to speak about the soul, do you know what happens then? Since you stand as the second one to it, you must speak through its light again. You must hold the tongs, but the tongs can never hold you. Similarly, you must speak through the soul's light, but you cannot make the soul shine. You cannot speak about it in a new way. That is why, if there is one thing in the whole world that remains untouched, it is the soul alone. Because we cannot describe the soul, it does not come into the mouth, so the soul is not defiled by speech. It stands as the experience itself. That is why they say he experienced the bliss of the soul, but that is wrong. If he experienced the bliss of the soul, then who is the one experiencing it? It does not mean there is a bliss of the soul. He remained as the bliss of the soul himself. That is why Shankara Bhagavat Pada says, Paranandabhikyam rasayati rasam taddahajanavan. A guru who can teach like Shankara Bhagavat Pada has not been born in this world, and there is no belief that one can be born. He must be born only by the grace of Ishvara. That is why his words are like that. He becomes the bliss of the soul himself. He stands as the personified bliss of the soul. Just as a golden bowl shines as gold without you having to do anything new to it, he stands as the very embodiment of the bliss of the self. The day he stands as that bliss, there is no touch of sorrow. He is the witness to everything. And standing as that witness, he even witnesses this body falling away. The very moment he realizes he is something unshakable, unchanging, inexhaustible, and indestructible, since Brahman is a synonym for that, he becomes Brahman. Not just becomes, but as Brahman. He gains knowledge and stands as Brahman. The spiritual practices are meant to reach such a state. He listens to the Guru. He studies the scriptures. He practices diligently. This whole process of practice is like scrubbing a golden bowl with tamarind and fiber. By doing this over and over, what does he achieve? Doing this is not the goal. The goal is for the golden bowl to appear and shine completely, to be known as a golden bowl. After some time has passed, even these will no longer be useful. Wisdom must dawn upon it, and all the actions performed with devotion must together lead to the emergence of wisdom. Please try to remember this carefully. Boiling water. I am heating water. It is peak winter, 4 o'clock in the morning. I have to bathe, perform my prayers, and go somewhere. I stood by the stove, heating the water. It felt so pleasant because it was winter. And as I heated that water, the warmth of the stove made me feel, oh, how wonderful. I'm standing here now, heating water by the stove. And this is not my own idea. I'm sharing an analogy from Sureshwaracharya's commentary on Shankara's work. He spoke about rotis. I mentioned hot water. Standing there, the water is boiling. What should you do? You must take the water off. If you just stand there because the stove feels warm, the water will evaporate. You keep performing these rituals until the time comes to pour the water. You keep doing them until then. Then even the tamarind pulp and other things do not need to stay on the golden bowl. They are removed. That is the emergence of knowledge, which is why they call it the flowing Ganga of knowledge. Until that flows, then even in these rituals, he rises above the state of thinking things must be done only in this way. And having risen, he grows to a state where he can constantly rejoice within himself. Now he has even wiped away that water. Meaning he exists in two ways, sometimes staying in that state and sometimes coming into the external world. In one state, after wiping it with that cloth, just as the golden bowl remains simply as a golden bowl, he always stands as the witness to the three states, as the fourth one, which is Turiya. In the Lalita Sahasranama, Vyasa calls this Sarvavastha Vivarjita. Then he is the witness to the three states. The mind and senses have risen. He remains a witness to the waking state. Thinking, oh, the mind has risen. Desires are demanding, spinning around. Senses are calling for pleasure. Senses are calling for pain. He just watches the fun. In a dream, he thinks, oh, this body is asleep, but the mind is awake. The mind creates a funny dream and he witnesses it. In deep sleep, the mind and senses merge into the soul, and without any disturbance, only the soul remains. In that deep sleep, even the mind and senses have dissolved. Now I exist as the soul alone, and he remains a witness to that too. That is why if someone asked Ramana Maharshi if he slept well, he would say, this body slept very well last night. Meaning, he was always the witness. And this is the ultimate purpose of the Bhagavad Gita in the Advaita philosophy. When one rises to that state, he stands as a witness. Whoever has attained this state of witnessing has become the soul. Someone like me who recites verses and gives lectures is not someone who has become the soul. Whoever has gained the wisdom to stand as the soul, it means he must know how to take those steps back. That is why in this practice, what happens is silence. In this spiritual practice, no one can hear his footsteps. No one knows his walk. Now, suppose I am walking like this. Everyone will know it. If I am walking, there will be a sound. And people will know that Koteswara Rao is walking right now. Suppose I am going back. Going back means standing as the witness of the soul, standing as the soul itself. And then, if I am withdrawing my senses into the mind, none of you will ever know that I am doing it. If I am placing the mind in the soul, no one will know. If I am being a witness and watching my senses, my mind, and this world all at once, then none of you will know that I have attained witness consciousness and I'm standing as the soul. To the world, it seems like he looks just like we do, and we think, look, he is just standing there. But that is not it at all. He is the one who stands as the soul. He is the salagrama among the stones. Whoever has attained that state, only one in millions and millions and millions of people attains it. Just to even know that something like this exists, and for the mind to settle down without getting completely confused and lost in it. After practicing for millions of births, whoever receives the grace of the Supreme Lord, the Almighty, only such people will get used to that kind of inwardness. They will get used to that observation and practice. You develop the wisdom to see that there is a soul, and it is the one that is knowing everything. In fact, Adi Shankara described this in a verse, comparing the universe to a city seen in a mirror, which is within oneself. It is pure audacity. No one would ever dare to say such a thing. They would not have the courage. Only Shankaracharya could say it. He said, get lost. Where is the world outside? It is not there. The world is within you, not outside. If someone hears this, they might say, I do not understand at all. What do you mean it is not outside? This bottle is not outside, it is right here. This table is not outside. You all are not here. How can you all be inside me? What do you mean you are not outside? They would say. Everything exists within the soul. I will give you one example and then I will finish. The mind shines because of the light of the soul. The mind cannot shine independently on its own. A bulb in a flashlight does not light up by itself. We look at that bulb and say, look, the bulb is glowing. We do not say the flashlight itself is glowing. It is not the battery itself that glows. It is the energy that is flowing from the batteries inside, and when it enters that bulb, it emits some light. Similarly, in the same way, when the light of the soul falls on the eyes see. When the light of the soul falls on the ears hear. When the light of the soul falls on the mind, it creates thoughts and doubts. Now you must remember one thing very well. The mind has no independence. The mind is not self-luminous. You have noticed that much, right? Now, this mind, only it knows every single thing. Knowledge. If you already knew what I know, you would not need to sit here in front of me like this and listen to me. I do not need to sit up high like this and say it. Is the Bhagavad Gita in the book, or is the Bhagavad Gita within me now? Just think about it a little carefully. If the Bhagavad Gita were only in the book, then I should not be able to speak without that book. The proof that I have become the Bhagavad Gita up to that verse is that it has entered into me from the Bhagavad Gita. The mind has grasped it. Now this power to grasp came from the consciousness of the soul. The world is within us, and I will give you an example. Koteswara Rao Garu, if you were to ask me how I light a lamp, I would say I do not use small matchsticks, because by the time I light a match, light an incense stick and then light the lamp with that incense stick, I am afraid this small matchstick might suddenly burn my hand. So I always use long matchsticks. If you ask if there are matchboxes with these long sticks, without saying no, I would say that shop is right there at Bhanugudi Junction. He will give it to you as soon as you ask him. That matchbox has two sides. How I remember which side is empty and which side still has matches is, I use the side that says lights for a while. And once that is done, I push the box to the side that says homes, and then I pull a matchstick from there. That matchbox is in the cupboard on my right side, right next to the sandalwood stone. Now tell me one thing, is the matchbox in my house? The matchbox is in the cupboard next to the sandalwood stone. The cupboard is in the prayer room. Is the whole setup of the prayer room here? It is here. Now, if you come to my house and ask where the big matchbox is, can you tell it exactly like I do? You cannot. The universe is like a city seen in a mirror, contained within oneself. If you take a mirror and place it on a hill, the whole town appears in the mirror. In reality, the world is within you. Depending on how deeply you are taking this into yourself and how much you are grasping the reflection through that illusion, you will remain stuck in that unreal object. If you start inquiring into what it is actually standing upon, you will find that it is standing upon the mind. This mind is established in the soul. So the soul is the only true thing. It is the witness, it knows, and it is always there. Leaving what is always there and thinking what is never there and will never be there is the truth. You are making a mistake. To change this mistake, you must practice. You must do sadhana. This sadhana is listening through the Guru. That is why this is in the Bhagavad Gita Upanishad. Upanishad means sitting close to the Guru. Do you know what it means to sit close to the Guru? In this gathering of thousands of people, I might be speaking, but there will be only one person who truly starts the effort to practice this. Only that one person will start the effort. And that one person who started in this life or in future lives, it would not be surprising if he stands as the soul even before me, the speaker. It comes as an Upanishad to provide this. Lord Krishna, the Jagat Guru, the complete incarnation of the Parabrahman, said, weapons cannot cut it, fire cannot burn it, water cannot wet it, and wind cannot dry it. You are that Tattvam Asi, the great Mahavakya. Actually, people take up Ayyappa Swami Diksha for 42 days. What they should listen to is the Dakshinamurti Stotram and this Bhagavad Gita. Because he holds the Chin Mudra. For 42 days, you should sit and learn from your Guru in the evenings. Guru means the Diksha itself is the Guru. If you sit with your Guru and do the Diksha for 42 days without listening to anything, it is just ash. You will not learn anything from it. Only the known ritual of bathing twice a day will remain. It is good to some extent. But what step will you climb? To climb the ladder, you must listen to the Guru and study the scriptures. Otherwise, there is nothing to do. So, rituals are performed to gain purity of mind. At one stage, they stand without even performing rituals anymore. But the big danger in this is seeing someone who has reached that level. You should not stop your rituals like a fox trying to copy a tiger. Once you have grown to that level, it will fall away on its own. Just like a fruit falls from the branch, once it is ripe, just like a raw fruit does not fall, even if hit with a stone, you should not let go until you are ripe like that. Until that realization of knowledge happens to you, you must keep performing the rituals. Because of that, he will reach a state where he can stand as the Atma. Our great Gitacharya explained this nature of the Atma in the Sankhya Yoga. In this, I will keep my speech very brief tomorrow as well, because we have a dance performance by Shobha Naiduji coming up. But if possible, since there are 2 or 3 days left, in those, what does devotion really mean? What does karma mean? What does it mean to stand as a yogi? How should one take steps toward true spiritual practice through constant effort? Regarding that, we just spoke a few words about truth. For those who are seekers, I must make an effort to provide some guidance for their practice. So, in the coming days, I will try to focus my attention on that. Now, the dance performance by Padmasri Shobha Naidu ji will begin in just a few moments or minutes. So, even though the organizers did not ask me to speak about such a great woman, out of the respect I have for her, I will say just a couple of words and finish. The fact that she received the Padmasri, the highest award from the Indian government, is not a very big deal to me personally. That is just a collateral benefit for her. For me, the greatest thing is that she is a mother who has received the complete grace of Lord Nataraja himself. During the twilight hour, appreciating the practice you all have done here for so long, Lord Shiva himself comes and performs his cosmic dance on Mount Kailash. And while you have the fortune of watching it, if he grants you that grace, how foolish would someone be to speak in the middle of watching such a divine and sacred dance? Speaking in the middle is like pouring away the fruits of your worship, which is why people do not speak during prayer. You should not speak. Silence is key. Such a mother, such a learned scholar, if she says she will give a performance today, there are so many cities truly waiting for her. That great mother has attained the status of a master teacher. If she sits down and says she will teach today, even great people would love to be her disciples. That such a mother has come here shows her grace. And it means just by seeing what is happening here, the prayers and programs of the devotees, she felt joy. And it is because of her love for Subba Rao Garu that she has come here today. When such a mother is performing a dance, getting up in the middle, sitting down, making noise, talking or sleeping are all very disgusting things to do. With great respect. Oh, what a kakinada, what a kovada, what silence. She should be overwhelmed like that. There should be no chance to talk at all. Once that Nattuvangam starts with Amba Paraku, Devi Paraku, as soon as they start saying those words, our minds will be absorbed in it. Such a great program is going to start in a little while. So, with the same joy as if you were watching Lord Shiva's Tandavam, and with the same joy as watching Goddess Parvati's Lasyam, while maintaining the decorum of the assembly, I request all of you to experience and witness this program with full attention. I am concluding my speech for today here. Peace be with you. Harihi Om. Greetings to this assembly, which is the embodiment of the Supreme. Vasanta Navaratrulu are going on right now. After the Sharada Navaratrulu, these Vasanta Navaratrulu are of such great importance. Just as Sharada Navaratrulu are great for spiritual practice in Dakshinayana, Vasanta Navaratrulu are equally renowned for attaining salvation and success during the auspicious time of Uttarayana. During such Vasanta Navaratrulu, yesterday we witnessed a truly magnificent dance drama titled Navarasanata Bhamini. You do not need to think there is a difference between today's Bhagavad Gita discourse and the speech I am giving now. Both are one and the same. This is because during Vasanta Navaratrulu, we must praise the glory of the goddess at least once. The dance performance, the dance program that we all saw yesterday, it was not just an ordinary event. It is a very, very great philosophy. Because it was like the goddess herself manifesting the 9 emotions
through that dance,
coordinating many episodes from the life and history of the goddess.
it was an attempt to show how the goddess manifested those 9 emotions by taking those episodes as a basis. But if you just observe the secret that lies behind it for a moment, the nature of the parents of the universe, Parvati and Parameshwara, is that no one in this world should ever be called an orphan. Actually, a clever poet once said that if there is an orphan in this world, it is only Lord Parameshwara. He is the only one who can be called an orphan, no one else. Because the word orphan is used for someone who does not have a mother or a father or both parents. That is when they are called an orphan. I bow to the parents of the universe, Parvati and Parameshwara. If they both are my parents, then how can I ever be an orphan? I am not an orphan, but Parameshwara has no parents to protect him. So, if there is an orphan, it might be him, but not us, he said. But does that interpretation apply? Parameshwara is not an orphan. Parameshwara also has a protector. Do you know why that is? Because she protects him and he protects her. When did she protect him? It was when he consumed the hala poison with the power of her Mangal Sutra and the influence of her auspicious earrings. The goddess protected the life of Lord Parameshwara. Shankara Bhagavatpada says the same thing in the Saundarya Lahari. Pauthana says in the Bhagavatam how much she believed in her Mangal Sutra. He says, Sudhamapyaswadya pratibhayajara mrityuharinim vipadyante vishwavidishata mukhamukhadhyadi vishavaha karalam yakshilam kabala tavata kala kalanana shambhastan mula. It is the power of your earrings, mother, he says in Saundarya Lahari. The goddess's earrings, they are a symbol of her marital status. By the power of those earrings, which signify her auspicious state, even the deadly poison, she saved Lord Shiva after he had consumed the hala poison. Parvati, who left her body during Daksha's sacrifice, had her dignity upheld when Shiva destroyed that sacrifice and she was reborn as Haimavati, the daughter of Himavan. Is marriage wrong? Lord Parameshwara is someone who never accepted another woman. So they are always protecting each other. Therefore, just because they do not have parents, they are not orphans. While they both remain as parents, we are not orphans. In what form do these two parents exist? This was asked in the scriptures. You need to grasp this point quite carefully. It is said that this entire world is the very form of those parents. For instance, the word Tandava only applies specifically to a man. If a woman performs it, you should not say she is doing the Tandava. That is why in the Lalita Sahasranama Stotra, it says she is the witness to the great dissolution. When Lord Shiva performs the Tandava of destruction, she just stands there as a witness. The goddess does not perform the Tandava. Whenever she dances, she performs the Lasya. Lord Shiva, whenever he dances, he only performs the Tandava. To perform the Tandava means, in the science of dance, Anusarinchi, in rhythmic patterns, expressing both variations in rhythm and pace through a specific movement of the limbs with a certain vigor. That is what is called the Tandava. If both expression and emotion are manifested, then it is called the Lasya. Whenever the goddess dances, she manifests both expression and emotion. Whenever the Lord dances, he performs the Tandava. The Lord does not perform the Tandava alone, and the goddess does not perform the Lasya alone. The whole world is a blend of the Lord's Tandava and the goddess's Lasya forms. This is because if you observe a little carefully, even as I am speaking right now, my hands are moving. The air that is within me keeps moving all the time. My tongue keeps moving, my heart keeps beating, and my lungs keep on contracting and expanding as well. My digestive system keeps contracting and expanding, and my blood flows at a steady, regulated pace throughout. All this is Tandavam. If all this is Tandavam, then when I speak, the expression of the thoughts related to the subject
I am talking about gets revealed on my face. Primarily, the expression of emotions happens only through the eyes. Do you know why that is? If there is fear, for instance, that fear shows on your face. Tummidi rasalu vyaktamayedi. But whether it is fear, romance, or the wonderful and humorous navarasas, all 9 emotions are expressed only through the eyes and nothing else. Other organs cannot reveal all 9 emotions. So, if you want to express all 9 emotions correctly, one must definitely be someone who has gained the ability to express those feelings through the eyes. That is why when Adi Shankara described how the Mother Goddess manifests the 9 rasas in Saundarya Lahari, he explained those 9 rasas through her eyes, saying, Shiv Shungaradrat Aditara Jane Kutshana Para Sarosha Gangayam and Girisa Cherite Vismayamati. Harahibhya Bhuita Sarasiraha Saubhagya Jananam Sakishu Sme Rit Tava Janani Mai Janani Dushti Sakaruna. Saying this, he described the 9 rasas through the mother's eyes. Now, the manifestation of these 9 rasas is the Mother Goddess, who is always in motion. You see, in this world, everyone moves in their own way, and each person is in a different state of rasa. One person might be very angry, another might be laughing, one might be afraid, and another might be gesturing like this. You can see all the 9 rasas, these expressions being manifested in everyone. This manifestation of emotions is the Mother Goddess herself. The movement within everyone is the Lord. These two are called Shiva Shiva, and they are called Ananda Bhairava and Ananda Bhairavi. In the Sri Vidya tradition, they both dance as Ananda Bhairava and Ananda Bhairavi in the Muladhara Chakra, you see. At the cause of creation, when this stillness begins to move, what is manifested through the goddess is Rasa and Lasya. And what is manifested through the Lord is the Tandava. Shiva Shiva, Hamsa Hamsi. These two are never separate. That is why without Shiva there is no Shiva. Without Shiva there is no Shivadu. Suppose there are no movements inside, the heart is not beating, then there is no anger, no peace, no humor, no disgust, no fear, nothing at all. There is only one rasa, the Shavarasa, the essence of a corpse. So, if there are Shiva related movements inside, then the Shiva related rasas will be manifested through that. If there is no Shiva inside, there is no Shiva, and there is no Shiva without Shiva. It is quite a wonder. You might ask me a question. You say, sir, the wind is blowing. So what is the rasa here? The wind is moving, right? And you said that all movement is Tandava. So if the wind moves and that movement is Tandava, then what is the lasya of this moving wind? What emotion is the wind expressing to us? One thing. Now, if the wind is blowing nicely, we are all very happy. That is the rasa of the wind. If that same wind blows fiercely, we all get scared, and that is the rasa of the wind. Suppose a waterfall is falling like that, there is a sound, a beauty, and a movement in that fall. That movement is Tandava. And you're just standing there in awe. That is the Adbhuta Rasa. The Adbhuta Rasa that is awakened in you by watching the waterfall. That is the Rasa of the waterfall. Therefore, a Tandava cannot exist without Rasa. And a Rasa cannot exist without Tandava. So, without Shiva, the Navarasas cannot be manifested at all. That is a great secret in this world. Actually, the name Navarasa Nata Bhamini refers to this entire universe. Because everything moves and emotions are in everything. Since they are always visible, that is why the entire universe is called by that name. Now, when we address this entire universe, if you observe a little carefully, as I have mentioned to you, there is a cosmic dance in all of these, and I also mentioned that the essence is manifested in all of them. In this, when speaking of the manifestation of essence regarding the goddess, it is hard to say it without the touch of the Lord. You cannot just Khudararu, remove the touch of the Lord and say that he has no connection at all, and that this essence was manifested solely by the goddess. In the Sri Vidya tradition and in the Shiva Mahapurana, the great secret is that for every essence that the goddess manifests,
the underlying cause is solely due to the movement of the Lord. That is why, to evoke the essence of Shiva, you cannot set Shiva aside at all. So unless you base it on the story of Shiva, Shiva will not manifest the 9 emotions. Because without inner movement, where is the feeling? It is just not possible. Therefore, such a great philosophy as this, and such a great secret, I am summarizing it even further, given the limited time we have. To reveal this, it was shown yesterday how the 9 emotions were manifested through the goddess's face in the performance. What you should observe in the movements of Parvati and Parameshwara is that when you sit to watch, you should see yourself as one who has a protector with you. I have a master. Look there, they are my mother and father. They are both my parents. You see? How can I be an orphan then? Those movements are present throughout this world. Food must be coordinated with this movement. Look at the magic in this here. Whatever the reasons. Yesterday my mother Shobha Naidu herself said this. She said that only this way the story proceeds, and that she chose the sentiment of disgust. It is very difficult to portray the sentiment of disgust. This sentiment of disgust is the complete opposite of the sentiment of love. Wherever the sentiment of love exists, its complete opposite is disgust. Do you know what the word Shringara actually means, sir? Ya Devi Sarva Rupeshu Lajja Rupena Samastita Namastasyai 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 Namo Nama. Shringara is not just about being next to your husband. Even if the husband is not there, just because one of his ornaments was brought and placed in Mother Sita's hand, Brihitva Prekshamana Sa Bhartukara Vibhushanam Bhartaramiva Samprapta Janaki Mudita Bhavat. Mother Sita, whose cheeks turned red with joy as if her husband himself had arrived, showed the sentiment of love and shyness. You should not think that the sentiment of love only exists when your husband is beside you. Among the 9 sentiments, it is the leader, it is a very great sentiment. Just as the sentiment of love is stimulated by thought, and how it manifests through feeling, if just by looking or thinking you feel that much revulsion, that is disgust. That is why, just as the Shringara Rasa brings so much joy, the Bibhatsa Rasa causes just as much pain. You see, that is why it is a mistake to think that there must be some terrifying scene to create that Bibhatsa Rasa. Do you know why that is? Take a hairy caterpillar, for instance, that is crawling up a pillar. What is it going to do to you? Will it bite and kill you? It does nothing. But if you see that caterpillar crawling like this, you go, oh, a caterpillar, why? Why do I shrink away like this, in this way? Why do we say, oh no, a caterpillar? That is actually what Bibhatsa is. Shrinking is Bibhatsa and opening up is Shringara. That is how it is manifested in the rasa itself. So Bibhatsa is not just about a single event, it is caused by the state of your own mind. One person looks at that caterpillar and says it will become a butterfly. He sees the Brahman in it. Then he does not shrink away at all. He sees the Divine Mother in that Brahmakita Janani. Does he feel any Bibhatsa? It is hard to say. For someone who shrinks at the sight of a hairy caterpillar, that is the essence of horror. But to reveal that essence of horror yesterday, the writer took the greatest possible element by basing it on the story of Shiva. They took the prelude to the destruction of Daksha's sacrifice, and in that, taking the prelude is one thing, but there was no orchestra and no singers either. It would be different if Mahankali Mohan or Amalapanam Kannada were there singing. Do you know the kind of luck it is to have singers like that performing right beside you? They get overwhelmed by watching the dancers acting and their dance. The dancers are overwhelmed by their rhythm and their hymns. The joy of both overwhelms us. But that was recorded. Moreover, in the dances we see today, there is absolutely no movement of the lips. That happens over there and these people just do it here, that is all. But yesterday's was a traditional dance. When mother performs, it is nothing ordinary. So whatever record is playing there, the lips here must move exactly as the mouth opens over there. I have observed many times, sitting there, to see if there is any delay in the lip movement.
Just notice how much practice must have gone into it for the lips here to move the moment it starts there. We are lucky to be able to witness such a great artistic expression happening here. So, when portraying that horrific scene, just moving the lips is not enough. One must know the inner meaning of the song being sung there. If you do not know the meaning or the context, it would be like that Sakshi essay written by Panuganti Lakshmi Narasimham Garu long ago. If a son dies and you cry in Kumbhakamboja Raga and someone says once more, you sing and cry again. It should not be like that. You must know the meaning of the song being sung. Only if you know the meaning, the emotion will be expressed properly. Look at what happened yesterday. Kamala Bhavudu and Kamala Dhavudu were both sitting here with their wives when Parvati Devi arrived. She is confronting Daksha. And do you know what the interesting thing is when she confronts him? Daksha's wife was struggling, unable to say anything to her daughter, or her husband just caught in between. She looked at her mother and said, "Tell me, mother, tell me how much." See how much they were overwhelmed and how much they were absorbed into it. In that Daksha Yagna, you saw different Parvati in that context. Asking to show, she said, "Look, mother, this Kamala Bhavudu and Kamala Dhavudu came with their wives. They showed the assembly where 33 crore deities had come." Meaning, while the husbands and wives were sitting there, these 33 crore people came with their spouses. Can't I come with my husband? Have your daughter and son-in-law become such a burden to you? Should I not come? Am I not even worthy of an invitation? When a daughter asked like this, and when the pain became too much, without even the respect for her mother and father, gesturing to her mother as if to say, "Ask her." And the way she spoke to her father and got completely lost in that emotion was just wonderful. But not a single journalist recognized it. Not even 4 lines were written about it anywhere. And I hung my head in shame because of that. Truly, what an amazing and wonderful expression of emotion by a mother yesterday. She portrayed that intense, horrific emotion so brilliantly. I cannot give a full lecture on each emotion right now. But as she expressed that horror while being in that state, she let the story flow exactly as it should and embraced the various emotions accordingly. In that state of intense horror, as the daughter of Daksha Prajapati, she finally gave up her physical body. And in the process of leaving it, she gave up her body in the fire of yoga. Giving up the body in the fire of yoga, well, the word yoga has a definition. Patanjali says, "Anena yujyate iti yoga." At that time, there is no screaming or shouting. Nothing like that. Parvati Devi was the very first to leave her body as the ultimate mark of a devoted wife. And that is why the custom of sati later emerged in India, where a wife leaves her body along with her husband. It was a sacred act. At that exact moment of leaving the body behind, she gathers all the powers from her senses into her mind, then puts that mental power into the soul, and taking that soul, she places it within the supreme divinity known as her husband, leaving only this body in the sacrificial fire, rising above all pain. Without even recognizing any pain, she watches the body as a witness and allows it to burn away completely. Now, to bring such a scene of burning onto a stage, I mean, how do you even bring that sacrificial fire to life? I am watching that scene with 1,000 eyes. This is the fire of yoga, right? So how is he going to bring it here now, I wondered. To my surprise, people in red clothes appear and the flame starts to swirl. A flame has this quality of swirling. If the flame swirls to the right, it is auspicious. If it swirls to the left, it is inauspicious. Even while turning, they circled in a clockwise direction, performing a proper circumambulation. If they had turned the wrong way, I would have pointed that out today and said it needs to be changed. They circled clockwise, which means she is Parashakti herself. She is manifesting a great virtue of a devoted wife. No. She is Shiva Vishwaha Bhaishaji. Shiva Rudrasya Bhaishaji. A lesson must be taught to the world that insulted Shiva, and he scolds the children. If she makes him angry now, he will come as Rudra, destroy Daksha's sacrifice, and teach them a lesson. She's leaving her body to turn him into Rudra. That is why standing in the yogic fire means standing exactly like that Parvati, who was trembling until now. While burning in the sacrificial fire, she just stood there like that, offering her salutation. Unless one truly understands the context and the sequence of these events, the before and after, and unless one is well acquainted with all the related matters and details, It is just not possible for a dancer to manifest that essence exactly as it is. They cannot do it like that. That one scene from yesterday was just enough. It was absolutely wonderful. You would not believe it. But as I sat there watching the intense emotion she was feeling, I thought, oh my, did my mother Parvati suffer this much? As I watched, tears just started rolling down my eyes. Worried what others might think, I quickly took off my glasses and wiped my eyes with my stole. That is what it means to evoke emotion in the listener. That is what it means for a dancer to be successful. She evoked such great emotion. In the story, right after she leaves her physical body, the next part comes in. She is reborn as Haimavati. Born as the daughter of Himavan, she serves Lord Shiva while he is performing his penance. She is serving him, and now the emotion of compassion must be evoked. When Manmatha shot his arrows, Lord Shiva burnt him down with the fire from his third eye. Manmatha fell. Rati Devi did not even have the courage to go and pray to Lord Shiva. She was very reluctant. He made such a mistake, so I burnt him. I burnt him, that is fine, but how will creation continue? If I do not revive him now, there is no creation. If I revive him, there is no punishment for someone who committed such a crime. He stood there for a while, lost in thought about what to do, with his hands placed behind his back, standing like that as if he was stunned, looking at some assembly in front of him. Then, as he stood there thinking with his hands on his waist, Parvati Devi was the only one listening to the deep grief that Rati Devi was going through while he was distracted. She's crying. She's crying, pointing at her husband that such a punishment was given for such a small mistake, for this tiny offense. He is lying on the ground. Even in that fall, he fell with such beauty, visible to everyone without blocking others on stage. How much these stage people calculate everything. As she was crying, I simply cannot describe with my words how heartbreaking it was for everyone. That is the essence of compassion. Then she could have gone to Lord Shiva and just unleashed that essence of compassion, but she did not. Instead of ending it right where she was crying, they finished it with an auspicious note. That is the beauty of it. That is the quality a poet should have. Immediately, when Lord Shiva looked with his nectar-like eyes, by the goddess's grace, Manmatha was brought back to life once again. So the episode ended on an auspicious note, and the sentiment of compassion was revealed. Now, what should come next? In the last two scenes, what happened was that the entire assembly became quite overwhelmed and emotional. Once it was a scene of horror. Once a husband died and there was crying. Once a wife died, Parvati Devi left her body. Once Manmatha left his body. Right at the start, two people left their bodies like that. It went on with these scenes of weeping. Now, this whole process must be taken forward in a heartwarming way. That is why they brought in humor as the third sentiment. Look at the cleverness in bringing that in. It is not mentioned in the Shiva Purana that it happened like that. But see how beautifully they arranged it. They brought a lady dressed up as Lord Shiva. Close friends always behave like that. Shankaracharya says, Sakhishu Smerate. They thought we might not understand if a friend just dressed as Shiva and sang and danced. So to make it clear, they brought someone looking exactly like Shiva and made them stand there as if mocking the goddess. And they proposed 4 things for consideration. First of all, a groom must have a wedding bindi. When the mother tried to apply it, he would just touch it here. But that is not enough. You have to press it down firmly like this. If she presses it like that, how can she press on an eye? What is this, mother? A third eye? Where the bindi goes, he does not look ugly. So how can we not apply it? It is inauspicious without a bindi. How can he be a groom without a wedding bindi? How do we apply it, mother? Do you know when something is actually funny? Humor is not just about making a joke. It is only humor if the listeners also have a heart to receive it. Suppose you say something just for fun. And if I react with a destructive dance, how can that be humor? It only works if the ones receiving it also have the richness of heart. Even goddess Parvati, the girl you were teasing, she laughed. Oh my goodness, if those laughs were flowers, we would be carrying baskets and baskets of them home. My mother did it with such a smile. She really says, it is an eye, right? If it gets irritated, he will open it. Eyes have that nature. If something presses here, we immediately open them and look like this. Even if it is opened out of irritation. He opened it because someone in front of him did something wrong. Now even if you open it because of irritation, you will get burned. That is its nature, it burns.
So whatever you are thinking, you mock that there is a third eye, that there is a third eye. No joke, if it is irritated and you open it, you will burn. I will put a bindi without it getting irritated and see. She replied. She went to Lord Shiva and showed him by putting on the bindi. We did not understand where the struggle was in all that. We should take it and be happy. Now, as for the second scene, they put a garland around the neck. Sage Valmiki describes the qualities that should be there as na kundali, na makuti, na sragvi, na alpa bhogavan, na hasta bharano, na nuliptango, na nuvidyate. There is a flower garland around the neck. If we try to put a flower garland on the groom, and there is a snake around the neck going hiss hiss, how can we even put it? They recorded it so well, you can hear the hiss hiss in that recording. He also, and the girl who put it on, when that snake was hissing, the dancers would bring the snake like this and make it hiss. It would be nice, would not it? In comedy, it is only funny if it feels like that. Bringing that snake and making it hiss. When they held the snake like this and made it hiss, it actually hissed in the record. It really makes everyone burst out laughing. It does. If you try to put a garland on his neck, will the snake allow it? I mean, she says that while she is already a garland around his neck, if you bring another garland, she will not agree. And the garland you put on will just wither by tomorrow. It is not an ordinary garland, not like the ones you and I would wear. Vasuki, who performed great penance, stays as a garland on his neck. Adishesha, who carries the whole earth, is a garland. Such a great being is adorned with snakes. And if you speak further, the snake is a symbol of death. He has death itself as an ornament. Where would you even put a flower garland on someone like that? Are you saying there is a snake on his neck? Do you even understand what his nature is? That is why I chose him, she says, feeling happy, laughing and joking around with them. On the third occasion, dear, when I tried to apply sandalwood paste on him, all the ash got stuck. Sandalwood is soft, and moreover, sandalwood paste mixed with water is quite sticky, is not it? When she applied that moist sandalwood paste like this, all the sacred ash on his body got stuck to her. The sandalwood stuck to him and the ash stuck to her. So she joked that if you apply sandalwood paste, ash will stick to you. So who would ever apply it to that body? See, ma'am, you think that is just ash, just vibhuti. If a little wind blows and that ash falls into your eyes, you will go blind. What do you think it is? It is no ordinary ash. When all these worlds dissolve during the great destruction, to recreate them again, Lord Shiva places the karma of all living beings within these particles of ash and keeps them on his body like computer chips. That is the kind of ash it is. If it falls in your eyes, you will go blind. What do you think? And ma'am, since he is the groom, if you want to give him a pair of clothes, a dhoti and a shawl, look there. What he wears on his body is a tiger skin and an elephant hide. And he says he will not take them off. Will not it stink if he wears it all the time? Besides, if someone has leather on their body, they are not fit for worship. He is not suitable for auspicious ceremonies. That is why people in temples do not wear leather belts. So there should be no leather on the body. So how can we bring someone wearing animal skin and make him sit as a groom in the wedding mandap? If we keep saying leather, that it is useless, we are not just saying it 10 times. Who drives that leather? The animal drives it. So those animals serve him, thinking, they are saying our hides are useless. And he said, look, Nandi and Bringi are angry and will chase and gore you. Those companions ran as if they had horns and were coming at them. Will he really gore them? If Nandishwara really gores someone, will anything be left? As if he was goring. And finally, to tease Parvati Devi, those friends were running while holding the deer skin he was wearing. It was like they were pinching Parvati Devi's cheeks, and when they did, she would wipe her cheek like this. It was like they were holding hands and playing with her. Everyone sitting here together playing spring games. Everyone is just laughing. And without even realizing it, you all forget everything and the whole assembly keeps laughing. Just like a farmer who can grow sesame if he sows sesame, black gram if he sows black gram, and rice if he sows rice, all in one land. That ability to change the mood of the assembly based on the scene, that is not ordinary. So that was the mood of humor, making it 3 moods so far. The 4th one is romance. Oh, pure romance. It is truly wonderful. But if I have to be completely honest with you, in that romantic scene, Lord Shiva looked just like the one who had just burnt Manmadha to ashes. And the reason for that is, the romantic essence the goddess was expressing, the essence flowing from her eyes. With this whole assembly and so many videographers and cameras moving around, she acted as if none of that mattered.
focusing only on Lord Shiva, with those eyes set so effortlessly as she performed that romantic rasa with heavy steps. Even Lord Shiva forgot to express his own romance and just kept staring at her. He was totally lost yesterday. That is the talent of Shobha Naidu Garu, and anyone would be captivated by such talent. Whoever played Shiva there probably could not have done more. So, that great scene felt very special to me, because in the literature, it was pure romance, without a single word being out of place. Actually, you might have noticed in the dance that we performed yesterday, it looked like he was holding her by the waist, but his hand was actually 2 or 3 inches away, without the hand touching the body of the person playing Parvati Devi at any point during the performance. It was so pure, so fit for a public stage, such a magnificent expression of rasa. Honestly, while she was performing that romantic essence, sitting there on the stage, it was something else. She was so lost in thoughts of Lord Shiva, and when Shiva came from behind in that trance, she was so absorbed, she acted like she did not notice him, turning her head this way as he went that way, and then turning back again, just like that. To be able to sit on stage and act like you do not see him, how deeply must one be immersed in the character? And when he went behind and made a little noise, she just stood up and looked at him, filled with such immense joy and happiness, blushing so much that her face just glowed. Oh my God, she's truly incomparable. I cannot even express it with my words. Portraying such great romantic essence is one thing, but that literature is truly pure romance. One verse in it really surprised me. It was amazing. All the green camphor on my body has rubbed off on you, and all the sacred ash on your body has rubbed off on me. That is it, just that. What else is there to understand? Do you know where that is from? It is from Adi Shankaracharya's Pratasmarami Stotram. Pratasmarami Parameshwara Bahudanan Khatvanga Shula Harina Pinaka Yuk Gauri Kapula Kucharanjita Patra Rekham Savarna Kankana Manidjuti Bhasamanam. Shankara Bhagavad Pada composed this. He said, Lord Shiva, when I look at your hand at dawn, the musk lines that Goddess Parvati applied on her breast last night are visible, sticking to your palm. Do I need to explain more? That is enough to describe the romance. Taking Shankaracharya's literature as an inspiration, someone else wrote a similar piece. And then women feel shy, right? Seeing the love between Parvati and Parameshwara, Ganga being a woman herself, felt shy and slipped into his hair, unable to watch anymore. Romance is an awakening, right? It is like blossoming. Seeing the crescent moon on his head, the lily, say the lily in her necklace or the lily in her hair, that lily blossomed beautifully. Lilies blossom when touched by the rays of the moon. Her heart opened up and Ganga felt so shy, she was really blushing. That expression of emotion, that Sringara Rasa was truly wonderful. All these are one thing. I have already completed 4 rasas because there was no more time left for them. The 5th rasa is Bhayanaka. This is very, very difficult because when it comes to the goddess, no one can really describe the emotion of fear. In fact, they cannot describe it at all, and they should not either. It is wrong. That is why everyone struggles to express the goddess's 9 rasas. How to describe fear? Because for her, you see, she herself has a name, Bhayapaha, the one who removes fear. Mrityu Daruputharika, she is like an axe to the wood of death, and death is the greatest fear. She removes the death. Actually, she has a name, Bhuvana Bhaya Bhangavi Asanini. A name that means the mother who destroys the fear of the worlds. What fear does such a mother have? And what is the point of saying she was afraid? It is meaningless. It is just not possible to say. It is not possible at all. That is why I took the story of Gajasura as an example. But is that completely acceptable? No, it is not. Because even Gajasura's body is a transformation of nature, so it is the goddess herself after all. Just as Shiva resides within the distorted body of nature, the mother goddess is present in form beside the Shiva Linga, while the Supreme Lord exists as the Linga. The Supreme Soul is within as the Linga, and the mother goddess is the body as nature. Why would Gajasura's body not be the mother goddess as well? Shiva was within the mother goddess even then. So if Kailash became empty, the mother goddess being afraid is not something that happens in the world. She is the primordial Tripurambika. There is nothing she does not know. She knows everything that is going to happen. In fact, Shiva and Shiva, there is no difference between them. Why would she be afraid?
So fear does not fit, but it had to be portrayed somehow, which is why even someone as great as Shankaracharya, the great Shankaracharya himself, wondered how to describe her fear. And while explaining the 9 rasas of the Mother Goddess, he took up a truly wonderful and extraordinary point. He thought it would not be right to describe fear in any other way. So he beautifully presented a woman's natural shyness as fear. While describing Lord Shiva's divine place, she happily held his hand like this, thinking, my husband is so great, he is truly so wonderful. Even around Lord Shiva's hands, small snakes are coiled. The underside of a snake is cool. When the goddess held his hand like this, the snake on Lord Shiva's hand, which was like a bracelet, uncoiled and slowly crawled onto the goddess's body, onto her arm. When she felt something cold, she looked like this. She never wears snakes as ornaments. She wears necklaces instead. When a snake climbed onto her, even though she is the goddess, when snakes suddenly climb up, she reacted like this. Shankaracharya said, she said, Harahibhyo Vita, because she was afraid. It would not be right to say more than that. So Shankara Bhagavad Pada described the goddess's fear so beautifully. That is why I am leaving it at that. Perhaps there was no further opportunity. After the sentiment of fear comes the wonder. In that wonder, it is as if both Lord Shiva and Goddess Parvati are immersed in the process of the Tandava dance. To show that he is greater than the goddess, Lord Shiva called Vishnu and asked him to raise the level of the performance. While he was playing the mridangam loudly and Shiva was performing the Tandava even better, Goddess Parvati sat on her knees like this and just kept watching, thinking, wow, what a dance. It felt like Lord Shiva just stood there gazing at the goddess after he had performed his Tandavam. I wondered, did she experience the rasa of wonder while watching his Tandavam? Or did Shiva stop because he found it wonderful to see her sitting like that with her hand resting on her cheek? I felt that way. I could not tell who was amazed by whom. That rasa felt so wonderful to us. That is enough to say it was a success, is it not? But if you do not think I am just giving you too much advice, I would like to say one thing about it. Rather than just accepting that, there is a suggestion made by Adi Shankara Bhagavad Pada there. The expression of the 9 rasas, specifically the rasa of wonder, Goddess Saraswati plays the greatness of Lord Shiva on the veena. Vipanchya gayanti vividham apadanam pashupate. That is the verse. The slaying of Triprasara, the slaying of Manmala, giving long life to Markandeya, kicking Lord Yama on his chest. These are extraordinary acts that no one else could ever do. While she was listening to all these descriptions, even the great goddess Parvati herself was like this, her mouth full of betel, lips red like tender leaves, and ears adorned with earrings, eyes half closed, lost in the music of the veena, and her hair slightly disheveled. She was savoring the betel juice and thinking, wow, what a husband, what a wonder, how great my husband is. She would be overwhelmed with joy. Do you know what the benefit of that is? Whenever you are doing something for the goddess, if you praise the glory that is related to Lord Shiva, then the goddess will bless you completely and fully. That is why Adi Shankaracharya, who composed Saundarya Lahari, started it with the word Shiva in Shiva Shaktya Yukto. For the description of Shiva's glory, she sings to bring those scenes and arrange them so beautifully as if displaying the rasa of wonder. That is not possible for anyone except a gifted soul like Shobha Naidu. We can give any number of suggestions sitting on the shore, but it is not easy. I think if we make just a small change to the sense of wonder, it will turn out even more wonderful. So that sense of wonder is good. Next, the sense of fear is done. The sense of wonder is done. The sense of humor is done. The sense of romance is done. And now